benefit dinner. Yeah! Good to see all your smiling faces. My name is Alan Long, and together with the lovely Miss Cheryl Wilson, we are going to be your MCs this evening. Right, Cheryl?
Right. So, as some of you may know, I worked with Donna Chan for about 12 years, and I call her my boss. So when she said, could you MC for tonight, what could I say? She's like, and she also, due to her influence, allowed me to join them last year to be a part of the crew that put you done. So I want to welcome you, and also I am sure that by the end of the evening, what you'll see, the pictures, you're going to sound the children, they'll plant a seed in your heart, and this will be one of the most uplifting evenings that you've experienced, I hope. And I believe it's going to happen. So, welcome.
Yes. And by this next picture that comes up, you'll see that this is not our first rodeo, because you and I were here in 2010. Where's that photo? Can you guys see it all? Okay. So in 2010, Donna invited us here. That was the very... Oh. Can you all see it? There it is. So Donna invited us to be part of the first annual Kumi benefit dinner. And what was fascinating to me, how many went to Uganda that first year? Raise your hand. Wow. Okay, just a few, a handful of people still here. Yes. What fascinated me was how that first year they showed pictures of just Donna and this group of people wiring rebar together by hand. They were making the foundation. They had no power tools out there, and I'm sure Donna showed up and said, where do I plug my hairdryer in? And found out very quickly that you will build the school by hand. And they laid the foundation, and each year we come back and we keep seeing more and more and more of this school. So that's what's fascinating. And now it's gotten to the point where we're trying to sustain the school and raise money for the kids and the programs.
And so, to those of you who are committed supporters, and those of you who are going to become committed supporters, just by seeing the photos, hearing the impact, I know that you'll recognize how much your generosity and how Is that better? I know that you'll recognize how much your generosity and your support means to the children and the families in Uganda.
Yes, and Cheryl, before we start, I have a few announcements. If you don't already know, the silent auction is located in the room to my right over here. You should go and check out all of the exciting items that you can bid for. The village market is to my also really right here to the right. You can see all of the items there. So they're selling beautiful items there. These are handmade from the women in Uganda, and there are many other unique items, all very giftable. The silent auction will be open during dinner until it closes at 8:45, and the village market will remain open until the end of 7:45, and the village market will remain open until the end of this program.
And so some of you may recall last year you were able to write a note to the children at KCBS, and we're doing it again tonight. So thanks to Vicky and her daughter Anthina. Are Vicky and Anthina here? Thank you. Vicky and her daughter Anthina. They have made a greeting card disguised as a table number placard. With your new KCBS, look at that light pen you got there. Find your pen. You're going to be able to write a blessing or a message to the children of Uganda. All right, school rather. Imagine the look on their face as they read your message. They don't know who you are, but how pleased and appreciative they will be to hear from so many people who actually show how much they care about them. The cards will be collected later in the evening, so you will have time to write your message. Everyone writing again on this one card. Last year we delivered those cards, and If you can imagine just having that piece of paper in their hand with a little bag that we also presented to them, it touched their heart, it meant so much to them because again, they don't know who you are, but you're so far away and that you care from such a distance means a lot to those children.
Can you imagine these kids just wondering, who are these people we don't even know who are doing this for us? The school pops up out of the middle of nowhere and, you know, we don't even know these people, but they're showing their love for us. Well, now I want to invite to the stage our performers who will give us our opening blessing through music. As they're setting up, I'd like to share a little bit about them. Their names are Israel Kazan, Rafael Kazan, PJ Tigas, Clyde Ambalong, and Daniel Florita. They'll be sharing with us their love of music. They're college and high school students from the Twin Towers of the United Methodist Church and Lake Merritt United Methodist Church. Together, they have weaved a little piece together called Light Medley, and they want this piece to be called to us, all of us, as we march in the light of God, declaring, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. In this world of yearning for healing, hope, and life, let us become the bearers of God's light and love. I believe they're ready now. Let's hear it.
Ito ang araw,
This is the day
na gawa ng Diyos.
that the Lord has made.
Tayo'y magsaya
Let us rejoice
at purihin siya.
and be glad in it. Ito ang araw na gawa ng
Diyos,
tayo'y magsaya at
purihin siya. Ito ang araw, ito ang araw na gawa ng Diyos.
This is the day
This is the day that the Lord has made.
the Lord has made.
We will rejoice, let us rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made.
Siyahang bayukan yan kwenkos, we are rushing in the light of God. Siyahang bayukan yan kwenkos, we are rushing in the light of God.
Siyahang rock, we are marching on. Siyahang bayukan yan kwenkos. Siyahang rock, we are marching on. Siyahang bayukan yan kwenkos.
Siyahang
Rock, we are marching on. Siyahang bayukan yan kwenkos. Where world is merciless, be God's mercy. Where world is hopeless, be God's hope. Where there is injustice, be God's justice. Where there is sadness, be God's joy. Where the world is doubting, be God's faith. Where there is ingratitude, be God's grace. Where there is confusion, be God's truth. Where there is weakness, be God's truth. Let your light change the world, one person at a time. Let your life be the presence of our Lord Jesus Christ. As the bread becomes His body, think of you, be God's love. Never let fall down to earth, thank you, our Creator. When we live a life of love, thank you, Son. When we walk the light, we'll sing, thank you, Spirit. Jesus dwells in me. Our life changed the world. Life is an act of time. And your life is the presence of my Lord Jesus Christ.
Sing it. Let your life change the world, one person at a time. Let your life be the presence of our Lord Jesus Christ. As the bread becomes his body, we can be the living sign. With God's love, change the world with your life. Let your life change the world, one person at a time. Let your life be the presence of our Lord Jesus Christ. As the bread becomes his body, we can be the living sign. With God's love, change the world with your life.
Yes, and it's amazing to see how many tables have grown from when we first started out. And just to give us an idea of how far we've come, let's watch a video to remind us where we started from.
Ari Lee always knew she'd been born with an ear for music. But 9 years ago, while teaching piano at a college in Uganda, she discovered her heart.
That first time was a life-changing experience, I think, for me. I think I found a calling to have to regularly put myself out of my environment.
Silver Omakenyi, 26 years old at the time, was one of her students.
He didn't come out and say, I need help. That's the first thing that kind of drew me is, oh, that's something different, something special about this young man.
But he did need help. In Silver's village of Kumi, he was caring for a house full of children orphaned by AIDS and dreamed of providing them an education.
I was like, I did not know that you were taking care of all these children. He's like, well, they're actually not my children, but they're folks who have no one else to care for.
Silver welcomed Ari's offer of assistance, but his vision seemed out of reach.
I felt like, who am I? I'm not even, I'm just a musician. I don't have the kind of people skills to go and bring people and, send the word out.
So Ari returned to her Oakland, California church, Chinese Community United Methodist, and asked for ideas.
I think it's just gonna all come together.
Members invited neighbors to a traditional Chinese meal to tell them about Silver's mission.
Hi everyone, can you all hear me?
Yeah, it's big for us. Right, this is more people than we have on a Sunday morning in our congregation.
Just can imagine that there's a sheer number of responses just kind of excite us.
That evening, Ari and her church raised $40,000, a gift that surprised even the givers, like church member Becky Wong.
It's in God's hands now, and wow, he's just brought us this far. We know he's not gonna let us down.
We are celebrating.
Ari took that money to Uganda and helped break ground on the new school, which, according to Silver's wishes, would include a music department.
Very fine video. Gives you an idea of how the dream began and how one person can create all of this.
Yeah, one person, but what speaks in my heart is that this small church, Chinese church, serving a place predominantly African Americans shows a work that goes beyond color, goes beyond race. It shows the godliness and the care in your heart. And so it's just remarkable to me, especially having seen it. So anyway, the first few years of having these benefit dinners started in 2010. It was focused just on construction. Before the school was able to open, the main building had to be completed. Then the next couple of years, we rapidly saw progress in getting the main building to the point when school could actually open. So we're going to take a look at construction, and I want you to keep in mind construction, meaning that every tool, every ladder is made by hand. No hammers, no electricity. This is, again, like I guess Becky in the video was saying, it's a gift from God. It's a belief that if there's a will, there's a way.
Kanisa litajengwa na nini na nani? Kanisa litajengwa na nini na nani? Iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo. Kanisa litajengwa na mimi na wewe. Kanisa litajengwa na mimi na wewe. Iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo. Kanisa litajengwa na mama na papa. Kanisa litajengwa na mama na papa. Iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo. Kanisa litajengwa na watoto na wazee. Kanisa litajengwa na watoto na wazee. Iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo yo yo yo, iyo.
Bye.
Wow. Look at all that joy that was created from way over here.
And so there they are, precious babies. Can you imagine that you have something that's so close to your heart that you'll do anything like you will tonight to make sure that dream happens, that dream comes true? I don't know anybody that I've ever met who's willing to work 24/7, 365 days a year to fulfill the happiness of someone else. So just give yourselves applause for you, for being here, and for the commitment that you're making to this program. So going forward, here are some statistics we want to share with you.
In 2019, KCVS student body was 181 people. KCVS's teaching staff was 15. They had 10 classes, 3 nurseries, 7 primary, and they had primary 4 through 7, and most of those kids were boarding students. What else? Oh, and as you can see from this bird's eye view, I believe that's what we're looking at. The campus is now more built out since 2010 because of another fundraiser focusing on construction, and you'll hear more about that later tonight. Now let's have a look at some new things that are happening for 2019. As you can see, your money is now going towards textbook storage. They now have built out a water system with storage tanks. They have a new head teacher. I believe we have a video message from the new head teacher, Amonjit Joel.
My name is Joel Imongit. By God's grace, the head teacher of Visionary. I greet all of you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I still take the opportunity to pray with us together for the fundraiser. May the Almighty God bless you all.
They've also created a debate team that went to a national competition in Uganda. They also have math workshops as well. So KCVS has had their grand opening back in 2010, and the Volunteers in Mission team was present during that time. Since the 2014 opening, fundraising by the benefit dinner has shifted from construction to sustaining the operation of the school. And the vision of KCVS, is to provide quality education for those kids who cannot afford it. And the donations you'll make tonight will enable that to happen for the upcoming year. Remember, the goal tonight is $20,000 from all of us, and we can do that. I promise you that. During a previous dinner, our high school MC said if everyone in the room gave $100 or more, then we would reach our goal. So let's see what we can do. If we say each seat tonight is worth $100, then we would reach our goal of $20,000. But in reality, we only make $25 from each dinner ticket, which leaves $75 short of that $100. So we're asking each of you to make that donation to make up the difference and spend $75 or more to reach our goal. So let's see if we can do that for all these young people tonight. All right, got a little enthusiasm.
So you might be thinking, children, Uganda, you think about conditions in Africa, and you might think, well, why do they want an education? What are their dreams? What do they want for their future? What do they hope for? So let's take a look and listen to what these children want to be.
My name is Akilo Tracy. I want to be a nurse in the future. My name is Naputi Mary. I am in primary 5. I want to become a pilot in future. My name is Etita Samuel. I am in primary 5 class. I want to become a bank manager in future. My name is Akurut House. I am in primary 6 class in Kumi Christian Missionary School. I would like to become a medical worker in future.
My name is Opedun Simon Peter. I am in primary 5 class. I want to become a lawyer in future.
My name is Mugena Anna Manuela. I am in primary 4 class. I want to be a teacher.
My name is Akufi Gladys. I am in primary 5 class. I want to become a headmistress in future.
My name is Apio Estaroda. I want to be a doctor in future. My name is Akumerab. I am in primary 5. I want to become a member of parliament in future.
So I hope you can clearly see what we're celebrating tonight. And really keeping in mind that in some of the classes, unlike the classes in the United States, there may be 35 students, some sitting on the floor, crowded in the desks. So when they say, I want this for my future, they are willing, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, taking a bus, getting there, having maybe 1 or 2 meals. They are really committed with your help to making their future a reality. So this is a dream that you're making with your pockets, your attendance, and I hope that you will give heartily before the evening's over.
But we can't give heartily until we feed heartily, so let's get these people fed. Let's enjoy our company here, and we'll continue the program. Enjoy.
Good evening, friends. Let me interrupt your eating, but keep one hand on your food because I'm going to ask you to use your other hand for an activity. You heard Alan say that our first dinner started back when? 2010. And you also heard Cheryl say KBR. And does anybody know what KBR is? Oh, thank you, Pastor Ron. You can read. All right. My name is Bert Yen. It's my pleasure to share with you. So, Pastor Ron, table, put it down low. Not too loud now. KBR, the Kumi Benefit Ride. We're looking at the 5th ride to happen next year in the year 2020. And the reason we switched to a ride was to include more of our friends and community, as we have bike riders, cyclists that is, walkers and hikers. Everybody can participate in this. Before I ask for your participation, how many of you have been here since 2010? Would you raise the hand that you're not eating with? 2000. Hold them up there. So that, oh, come on, there's more than that. That's it? 2010? Alan, put your hand up. Thank you. Who else? Hold them up there. Wow. We've really changed. Okay. Well, that's good. In 2009, I was one of the 8 missionaries that went to Kumi. It was my joy and pleasure to be there to see how God is moving in such wonderful ways in building the school from the ground up. But tonight, I'm here to announce about pedal pushers. Who remembers pedal pushers? Oh, good, some of us. Pedal pushers. We're going to talk about pedal pushers. Pastor Pam. Pastor Pam. Pastor Pam. You know what? Pastor Pam. You know what pedal pushers are? We're going to talk about pedal pushers tonight for a few minutes. Okay? We have a ride scheduled for next year. April 20th, the 5th annual KBR, Kumi Benefit Ride. And this is what we're hoping to do for next year's ride, to raise funds to build a nursery unit. A nursery unit. We need them. We have nursery classes now, but we don't have a unit just for our children in Kumi. So next year, our nursery school is going to be part of the KBR 5 or the 5th annual.
Okay, there's the slide that brings a smile to your face. Recognize this gal? That's none other than Donna Chanchu. And over here is Michelle. I don't know if Michelle who is here tonight. She was she was a college student first year, I think, when she came with us. The school had just opened. And they're playing Ring Around the Rosie. So you want to know what you need to be able to do to be a volunteer admission? Is that better? You need to know how to play Ring Around the Rosie, right? Who knows how to play that? Raise your hand! Come on! Oh, you're being bashful. Okay. Well, just to repeat what Cheryl mentioned to you, you know, you are the backbone of this project, and we couldn't do it without you. When we started in 2010, or even earlier than that, we had no idea how to build a school, how to get it started, and what to do. But, you know, with just faith, hope, love, we move forward. We put it in God's hands, and it's a miracle. It really is. So, I can see that some of you are curious now about Africa. You're curious about what it's really like to go to the village. So I'm here to invite you to go on a mission trip. And we call it Volunteers in Mission, VIM, through our United Methodist Church. You don't really need any special skills. People think you have to be able to do carpentry or be a nurse or something. You just come and bring who you are to be with the people there. You know, it makes a huge difference, your presence being here tonight, but think of what a difference it makes to the kids and the staff in Africa when you show up, having traveled like 2 days to get there, and they know it. And they touch your skin, and they feel your hair, they hold your hand, and they warm your heart. And that is what being a volunteer in mission is about. Now, when each time we went, we had 3 trips. Donna and I had been on all 3 trips. It's a little different each time. Sometimes we did get to use a hammer or bend a nail. And sometimes we had a young man last trip bring drumsticks. And he taught the kids how to play drums on the cement. And we've had people who taught math or did the hokey pokey over and over again with these students because they loved it. So what do you need to come on this trip? You need faith. You need faith that you can step out of your comfort zone, be invited by your inner spirit to connect with the kids in Kumi. You need hope because this project is centered around hope. From its beginning to this very night, we could not go forward without the hope that you bring to this project and you will bring to the trip. And of course you need love because we are sharing the love that God planted within each of us to love our neighbor, to be connected in this world. So you know what? I want to see some of you coming on the next trip, 2021. Mark it on your calendars. Watch the website. You can come to Kumi with us.
All right, Becky gives you all the details on that as well.
Good evening, everyone. My name, there you go. Sorry, my name is Ben. Okay, yes, right there. Okay, and that's Ari, yes, okay. Right, yeah. If you haven't seen me for a while, it's because I wasn't here last year. I missed last year's dinner. Okay, but I have good excuse. It's because I was in Uganda last year for the whole year. Okay, that's why I missed the dinner. So Ari and I, we were only here in a photo last year because we couldn't make it. So that's us in Kampala in some traditional clothes. So it's very nice. And just to clear something up, because I know a lot of people are confused when they hear we went to Uganda, they say, oh, it was so great because you guys stayed at KCBS. And I have to go, no, we didn't stay at KCBS. Okay, so that's not what happened for the whole year. We would like to, but we didn't. So what were we doing there for the whole year? So we were in Kampala teaching, essentially. So Ari teaches music, and she's been teaching in Kampala for the last 20 years. She started in 97. Okay, and in fact, if you read your booklet or if you paid attention to that video, right, so that tells you that you would know that's how actually she met Silver in the first place, because she was teaching at the music school. It's actually a Bible college, so she teaches music and worship. So that's how they met. And so she's been teaching there ever since, and in fact, she's there right now teaching. That's why she's not here today. So she missed 2 dinners, right? Okay, so for those of you who've been to here 10 times in a row, so you beat me, now for me it was only 9, and Ari's gonna miss 2 in a row, so maybe she'll be here. Maybe she'll be here next year. Anyways, so we were not living next to KCBS for that whole year, but we would like to. So maybe in the future, we'll live there. We'll let you know. You saw the Vim Trip advertisement earlier. That maybe we'll be hosting you. Okay, you can stay at our house. Okay, so just be ready for that. Okay, keep praying. It takes a long time to get stuff done in Uganda. We're trying. Okay. So, where am I? Okay, so Ari's not here, as I said, but she was in Kumi this past weekend. So she made this last minute trip. We said, oh, she should go to Kumi and get the latest update. So she went to Kumi and she talked with Silver, right? Silver's the director of KCBS. He's the director of the school, and he's the one who's kind of has this vision for helping the poor children in his neighborhood. So she visited with Silver, and I'm sorry to report that actually Silver's been sick for the last couple of weeks. In fact, I got a text from him this morning, and he's like, oh, I have a cough. And Ari texts, like, go to the doctor. Okay, so go to the doctor. And unfortunately, Ari Lynn, the daughter, is also not feeling well. Folks get sick a lot in Uganda, so please lift them up in your prayers. Please lift them up in your prayers. Okay, but so Silver couldn't be here. You know, he really wants to. In fact, in previous years, we tried to bring him over here. We ran into a lot of trouble. We couldn't figure out how to get him out of the country. Uganda's like, no, he's going to run away. So we couldn't get him here, but he always wants to bring us a message. So So I'm going to play video. This is Silver's message to you. You're the supporters, right? Okay, so this is Silver McKinney. He's the director of the school and kind of the vision bearer for this whole ministry.
Hi, CCMC partners. I greet you in the great mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm Omakenyi Silver. By the grace of God, I'm the founder and the vision bearer of this great ministry. You have done great. We are proud of the structures that we are seeing. We have water, we have operational costs taken care of. Your contribution has transformed our community. May God bless you. I remain Silver. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Silver, yes. All the way from Kumi. Now, Kumi's 10 hours ahead of us, so maybe in the future we'll get him on a video chat or something, but it's like 5:30 in the morning, so it'll be totally dark. It may not work out. Okay, so what's happening tonight is part of Silver's dream, right? This is helping his dream to help those in his community who can't afford an education. So what you saw in the video was him saying something about operational costs, right? He said something about buildings and you saw the water, but he said our operational costs are covered. So when he says operational costs, that's kind of a key word for sustaining the school. And that's where the donations for tonight go towards, is for sustaining the school. Because without those donations, the school can't provide a very high quality of education. And without high quality education, the poor kids are going to have to go to a low-cost school, and the low-cost school doesn't give you good education, so they don't learn very much. They end up not being able to continue on to school, and they don't escape the cycle of poverty. They just end up back in the village working on the farm. It's a subsistence living. So I want to emphasize tonight, it was mentioned earlier, the goal of 20,000 is for sustaining the school and the operational costs, and that is the goal tonight. And thank you for being willing to be here and be part of it. Okay. Now, having said that, you know, the school has been open for 6 years. It opened in 2014, praise the Lord, and students are in the school, right? We saw 181 students. There's 10 grades. Basically, it goes from nursery school all the way up to 7th grade. It's the British system, so they say P7. This is basically a 7th grade. And, you know, it says up there, does education make any difference, right? Is it changing anything in the community? And of course, in our heads, we know that. And if you didn't believe that, why would we even be here, right? We believe that education makes a difference, and in particular in the Kumi area, that it'll lift some of these kids up so they can escape the cycle of poverty. But you may be wondering, well, does it actually make a difference, right? So knowing it, not just knowing that it's true, but does it make a difference? I mean, I'm sure you've heard quotes out there. There's a quote from Nelson Mandela. He says, education is the most important weapon which you can use to change the world, something like that. So, okay, well, we can say that and we can believe it, but what if we could actually see it happen? So I want to share a couple of stories about how it actually has been changing things in Kumi. Okay, these are real life stories here. Okay, so again, we've been having these dinners for 10 years, and so that goes all the way back to 2010, right? And so some of you were here in 2010. Okay, but you know what? Silver's dream, of course, was way before that. It didn't start with the benefit dinner. It didn't start with the school. It in fact started with just supporting orphans. So if you look at, again, if you read your booklet, there's a little background story, and it was mentioned very briefly in the video when Ari went to Kumi that first time. And it was probably like 2003, maybe 2003, 2004. So she goes to Kumi and realizes that he's taking care of all these orphans, which is kind of unusual because it's like, well, why is he caring for them? No one else in the community is caring for these orphans. So Ari came back to the church, right? So our church is the Chinese Methodist over on 8th Street. right, the one with the round moon gate, came back to the church with Silver's needs. So Silver's saying, hey, we've got these orphans, who's going to put them through school? So this is like 2003, 2004 time frame. So what's happening is the church says, we want to help Silver achieve this dream, right? Okay, now this is way before the dinner started. The first dinner was 2010. Silver met Ari, and Ari came back to the church in 2004. So this is way before that. So, in fact, people from our church, Chinese Methodist, started to sponsor some of his orphans that he was taking care of to go to school. And keep in mind, these orphans never went to KCBS, right? This is way before the school started. The school opened in 2014. So we were sponsoring that was 10 years before that, in 2004, to go to school. So of course some of those kids some of them didn't quite make it because they didn't have academic chops, and some of them like ran off with boyfriends or something. So it's like, well, okay, that doesn't always work out, but some of them actually did make it. So I want to tell you a few of those stories. So, next slide. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, so this is from I think this is from 2005. This is like one of the early trips when Ari went to the village, and she saw the orphans that Silver was taking care of. So, interestingly, you know something about this photo? It's all girls. Okay, it's all girls. And actually, there were a couple of boys that he was taking care of, but it turns out it was all girls in this photo. Okay, so we began to sponsor these orphans, even though we were having these dinners, right? So we're having the dinners in 2010, but we didn't tell you about when we were sponsoring these orphans because we want you to focus on building the school. And yes, that took a lot of money, and yes, we give ourselves a round of applause because we built the school and it's running today. But in the background, we were supporting a few of his orphans that were going through school. Okay, so I want to tell you a few stories about some of those orphans and what happened to them. So we have someone like Susan. So this is, Susan went to school. Actually, she was one of the older ones, so she finished school probably 2010. Secondary school, probably went to vocational school, and she was able to own her own pharmacy. So she calls. So she told us, hey, now I have my own drug shop. We said, a drug shop? Oh, okay. Well, that's what they say. It means that when people come to her, and I'm sick, so what treatments do I need? And she has the medicine. So that's essentially a pharmacy. Okay, so, I don't know how old she was in that photo. I want to say she's probably a teenager in 2007. Yeah, and we still see her. She's still very close to the top. Okay, how about Alice? So Alice was also one of the older orphans, older than that picture I showed earlier. So Alice wanted to do early childhood education. Now again, what's this sort of a code word for teaching primary school? So she focused on like lower grades, like first, second, third grade, where the system is P1, P2, P3. So she finished her training, and now she's actually very well off. She's employed by a local NGO, which is probably means that it's like Western money, and she's working for them. So that's a success story. Oh, next slide. Okay, Sarah. Okay, Sarah. In fact, I think Sarah was about to go to university when we started to sponsor her, and so I believe she went to Uganda Christian. That's one of the top 2 universities in Uganda. And she got her bachelor's in business and opened her own business. She opened her own clothing store. So yeah, it's a real, we were so proud of her on that. She was this big old thick, it's like her final paper studying something about business in Uganda. They have to do some study. So anyways, that said, Sarah is still also around. Oh, okay, Raymond. Oh, okay, the first guy. So it's not just all girls. Okay, so Raymond, first guy. Okay, so in fact, Raymond is in the story in your booklet. So for those of you who love reading, you probably know his story already. So he's got a really interesting story. So get this. So back in, what is that, 2004? So in 2004, Mary went to the village, right? This is probably like with all the pictures of those other, when the kids were really young. So they came back and see, we were just starting to support orphans. The benefit dinner wasn't until 2010, right? So it was way before that. So we're looking around, trying to figure out a good picture of what a poor child in Kumi looks like. I know it's kind of gratuitous, right? So we were saying, okay, what does a typical poor child look like? So we were looking at this video that she took in the village, and she's just, the camera's just moving around, and then suddenly we're like, oh, that boy looks like he's really poor. See, he's wearing a pink outfit and it's all torn, right? So that's Raymond in 2004. So we did a screen capture of the video, and we started using it for a lot of our promo materials. So I think even if you go over to that table with all the pictures, you'll see a magnet that has his picture on it, right? Okay, so we started using his picture, and Silver realized that we were using his picture, and he says, you know, we should start sponsoring this kid. Because we were using his picture. So we said, oh, okay, fine, okay, we'll start sponsoring him. So we got people in the church to sponsor him. Okay. Turns out, he's one of the smartest kids among all of the kids that we were sponsoring. So he goes all the way up, right? He's probably in like primary school in this picture. So he goes all the way up through college, right? He went to, I think he also went to Uganda Christian, so top 2 university, and he got his bachelor's in business, biz ed, and now he started working, and then he wants to go back to school because he wants to do postgraduate studies. So it's just kind of amazing, right? So we picked him out of a video, almost at random, right? And now this guy's, Raymond's life is totally changed. All right. Okay, Grace. Oh, all right, Grace. So, if you were at one of the early dinners, I can't remember which one it was, at the end of the dinner, there was a young girl singing a song. It was like on Eagle's Wings, maybe you don't remember it. We were playing the song. It is a Don Moen song. Anyways, she wanted to become a gospel singer. But anyways, she was also sponsored. And for those who went on the mission trip in 2009, right? We saw Grace among, right? We saw her at school. That's why she has to see that outfit, the green and yellow outfit. Okay. So anyway, Grace is also very bright, and she's now at Chambogo, which is I guess I would say it's a distant third as far as the best university in Uganda. And she's a second-year student. She's kind of following in the footsteps of her aunt. Her aunt actually has the same name, and her aunt is a high school teacher. And why am I telling you this? Because it's in the booklet. So you can read the booklet. Grace's story's in the booklet. But Grace she's so excited because she's still being sponsored, right? She's still being sponsored, and we were able to get a video from Silver. She likes to send videos of the orphans, and so that we can connect with them, right? So Grace wanted to thank her sponsor and tell her how she was doing.
I'm really so happy. I'm so grateful for the love that you're showing me. After I sat for my Form 6, I knew my hope had vanished. I knew there was no future for me. But when I prayed, I sought for help, people prayed for me, you came in and took on from where I'd stopped. I really thank you. You're just like an angel sent to me. If it was not because of you, honestly, I would be someone's wife by now. Because from my village where I come from, marriage is the only order of the day. So I'm really so happy. Actually, words alone cannot express how much I'm happy. Words alone cannot express the joy I have.
I mean, when I hear something like that, it just makes me thankful to sponsor someone that values the education. And one thing that you noticed, I don't know if you picked up on that. I know the Ugandan accent is a little bit difficult to pick up sometimes, but she talked about how if she didn't get this opportunity to get an education, she imagines she would probably be married by now. But she's probably 20 years old, because that's normally what happens in the village. That's just the standard expectation for girls is just to get married, right? So she wouldn't have had this chance to do something else with her life. So that I don't know, to me, that's evidence, is sort of especially when you talk about does education make a difference. It's really made a difference in these kids' lives. I mean, now they're grown up adults. Okay. All right, so remember, first of all, that every one of these stories I just showed you are people who never went to Kumi Christian. Okay, they never went to KCBS, right? KCBS opened in 2014, right? These students, they've been sponsored like way before that, 2004, 2005, they finished school. So now, you're probably wondering, obviously the school has been open since 2014, so every year 7th graders are graduating, right? So 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, and now 19. So every year there's 7th graders are finishing the school, and what happens to them? Did any of them get sponsored? Okay, so it turns out that actually a couple did. See, we kind of slowly phased out the sponsorship program because we wanted to focus on the dinner fundraising, but there were always a couple of orphans that we wanted to continue sponsoring. So I just want to share a couple of them with you. So one of them is Sheila. And again, if you're one of those book readers, you probably already know the story because Sheila's story, I believe, is in the book. So again, she was a very special person because way from the beginning, in fact, that first photo that I showed, she was in that. She's just looked very small, but in fact, she is older than she looks. She's actually 22 in this photo in 2019. She's 22 years old, and she looks very small because she's HIV positive. So that's affected her growth, and she was sick for a lot of the years that we put her in school, so she had to repeat grades, and it was just a struggle. We would always say, "How is Sheila doing?" "Oh, Sheila's sick again." I said, "Yeah, because your immune system is compromised." So that was kind of sad, but slowly, as you can see throughout the years, 2005 photo, up to 2019, she was able to finish P7, 7th grade at KCBS last year. So we're so thankful for that. And normally we would sponsor kids to go on to secondary school, but Sheila said she really doesn't want to go to school anymore. Because maybe it's kind of awkward to be a 22-year-old, 8th grader. So she said she just wants to do a vocation and just go to hairdressing school. So she did that. So we're sponsoring here for this sort of 1-year hairdressing vocational school course, and she wants to open her own braiding shop. So we're just praying that works out and supporting Sheila. Okay, the other person, okay, so the other person is Brenda. And Brenda has a very interesting story because she was actually discovered living alone by with just her and her younger sister. Back in 2015, there was no parent or guardian around. She was living in an abandoned barracks, like military barracks. It's just like a metal shelter that the military used, and then they stopped using it. So people like this who don't have anywhere to go, they would just sort of hide out in these little barracks. So she was discovered living there. So they were taking care of you and your sister, your younger sister. So we started to sponsor Brenda. In fact, we have a partner church in San Diego who is sponsoring Brenda. And her life has really just turned around because she's now gone on to secondary school. And originally she wanted to stop at, I guess it was secondary school, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 6 secondary grades, S1 through 6. And so sometimes kids can't make it all the way through S6 in order to go to university. And they stop after S4, so 4 years of secondary, and then they do like an AA degree. They do like a vocational school. So originally Brenda wanted to stop after S4, but we recently figured out, or she told us that she wants to possibly continue through S6, which is really great. We want to see these kids reach their full potential and to see as far as they can go, and not to just kind of say, "Oh, that's enough, I'll just stop here." She's thinking about going on to S6. So we're going to have to go back to the San Diego church and say the sponsorship may continue. So So anyways, so Brenda and Sheila actually went to KCBS. They finished P7, 7th grade, and then they're moving on. All right, so the question you might ask is, what about other kids, right? I mean, those two were sort of lucky because they got into the program, but some people have asked us, well, what happens to all these kids who are graduating from KCBS and 7th graders? Where do they go? Because we don't have a secondary school, right? A lot of people say, well, okay, when are you going to have a secondary school for KCBS? That is a big undertaking. Okay, we got to finish the primary school first. so we're not ready to have secondary school. But what happens to those kids? And so we started thinking about what can we do? And so we started thinking, well, maybe it's time to start up the sponsorship idea again. Because for students like this, Susan is in 7th grade. She's in the P7 class right now. In fact, I think she's one of the top 2 students in the 7th grade class. And she wants to study medicine. But I can tell you that she definitely doesn't have any funds to go on to secondary school. So we thought, boy, maybe it's time to open this up. So if you guys were asking us, how do we support these students? Maybe we should ask you. So that is what is something new that's happening tonight. Okay, this is something we've never done before. And so tonight is the first night we're asking for sponsorship possibilities. Okay, before the first 10 years, it was all about building construction. And yes, we can be proud of that because the school is running and we're supporting it and we're sustaining it. And make no doubt about it, let me say it again, the 20,000 is still the top priority. Okay, because if the school doesn't have the 20,000, then the poor kids are not going to be able to afford it. They're going to end up going to a really bad school and they're not going to learn anything. So there's no success there. So the 20,000 enables KCBS to provide that high level of education to the poor students. Okay, so that's still job one. But if you have the heart to support a student beyond KCBS, right? This is beyond what we would normally ask for. Tonight you have an opportunity to make a commitment or a pledge. So if you look in your booklet, hopefully it hasn't fallen on the floor, there's an envelope that has 2 slips of paper in it, okay? You got those two? Right, one of them is the donate one, that's for the 20,000, okay? But the other one is for a pledge. So if you are interested in sponsoring someone beyond a 7th grader who can't continue on to secondary school, we want to know if you're willing to and how much you would be willing to commit to. Now, on the sheet it says no money collected, and you're saying, what the heck, why you don't want to take our money? So again, we don't want to force you to choose between the 20,000 and supporting another student, because that would be kind of awkward. So, we just want to know what you would be willing to commit to and provide your contact information. Okay, so if you want to do that, the pledge cards are there. And we just need your contact information and how much you would be willing to. Because depending on how much is committed, we can find 1 student or 2 students, or maybe 0, right? If no one's interested, then okay, we can't do it. So this is sort of a feeler. We just want to know what the real interest is from our constituents, which is yours. So that's your opportunity. And in fact, it could be Susan, right? Her picture is on the pledge card. It could be Susan. We don't know because the school year ends in December, and we won't get their test results. They have to take this test to go into secondary school. We won't get those test results until January, and that's when we'll figure out where they can go to school, how much it costs, and who we think is the right person to sponsor. Okay, so anyways. All right, so I hope you got that, and let me just sum up by saying that this is part of the bigger vision that Silver had, because Silver, it wasn't just to start a school, right? His vision is really to help the vulnerable youth and to lift them out of poverty. And so if we can't do secondary school at KCBS, this helps achieve that vision for students beyond KCBS. And the vision of helping the poor reach their full potential. So, because of your giving tonight, I just want to say that this is how you are touching the heavens and changing the earth for these kids in Kumi. That's the school's motto, and that's the Silver's motto, is touch the heavens and change the earth. So that's what you'll be doing tonight through your giving to 20,000 and possibly committing to this sponsorship. So I just want to close by saying thank you for being here. Thank you for your generosity all of these years, 10 years. Thank you very much.
Lend me your ears. We are CCUMC choir. So we have from your left, there is our conductor Yvonne, and Vicky, and then and then Eva, and Ying, and me. My name is Milo. And tonight I'm going to sing one song called Little Light of Mine. This is very well-known children's tune, but do you know it's also a spiritual, which was transformed by the nation's civil rights movement into an anthem of singular power. So tonight I'm going to sing this song to invite you to be in solidarity with us, to bring light to the life of children in Kumi, Uganda. We may not sing it perfectly, but we sincerely invite you to be with us. So, would you like to take the pen on your table? The pen with the LED light on it. Turn it on and then show me your light. I don't see many lights. All right. Turn your light and show your light and then be with us. Okay. Thank you very much. So when we invite you to sing together, everyone sings. Every light counts. Thank you very much. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. This little light of mine, let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
light shine? Letting your heart shine? Feeling the love? And the grace of God, the grace of thankfulness, just being alive. So thank you, choir, and the previous group who performed, for filling us with music and keeping our eye on the prize as we go forward. So, you have listened to the stories and you've heard from the children. The reality of KCVS is only made possible by you and me. You are now invited to make this man's dream come true for his community even more. So on the screen, how can you be a part of the dream? Now remember, like me, I'm remembering the goal is 20,000 K for sustaining the school for 1 year and for the future of the children of KCDS. We ask you to fill out the pledge form. I just want you to know that probably, I guess it was last year, the year before, when I had gone, the windows were broken, there weren't desks, the blackboards were missing, there weren't that many books or supplies for the children. But within just these 2 past years, you've seen how your commitment and your funds have gone to support them. So this is what this looks like. You take out your card, you take out the envelope, and you say to yourself, like I said to myself, I spend maybe $3 a day on coffee. If I have coffee just 3 days a week, what's that? What's that? $12? If I do it 4 times 12, well, if I do it 4 times 12, what's that? If I can spend $48 on coffee a month, certainly I can take out my card and I can forego coffee so that children can have a teacher that is paid a reasonable amount, so that children can have transportation to school, and so that children can have their dreams come true. If you're like me, can you show your card? 1, 2, the envelope there, envelope there, no more envelope there, envelope here, envelope there. Think about it. Whether it's ice cream or coffee, if it comes down to that simple, you can donate.
We want to thank you very much. And Cheryl, I just want to ask you, you were one of the many people who were sitting here for years, right, and kind of watching this happen, but then you actually went there. What was that like?
Well, to be there and to know that children would give anything to have a seat in the classroom, that just having some cards to play with so they can understand mathematics, just having a meal to eat makes a huge difference. I went there because I felt that in over 25 years in being in education, that there was something I could possibly do that's going to make a difference. It makes that little amount of difference. There's still a lot more that I need to give from my heart. So I feel blessed, but there's still so much more to do.
And just to see those kids look in their eyes, it's a different experience.
Well, it's a different experience anytime you see a child who's so committed that wants to learn, that child will sit on the floor. The child may be 5, 6, or 7. They'll be sitting there and they'll be waiting for the teacher to arrive because the teacher may have had another appointment or the teacher may be at another classroom. But the self-discipline, the motivation, the desire to learn is immeasurable in these children. So.
Great, thank you for that. So now we'd like to invite Pastor Mena for the closing blessing.
enough thanks for God for this wonderful event. So many thanks. We just give a big round of applause. And really, I would like to thank everyone who made time to come present to show your support. And I would like to give thanks for our core team, cleaning team, Donna.
Yay, Donna!
Becky, Ben, Bart, Arlene, Peggy, and thank for our two MCs from Ellen and Cheryl. Thank you very much. You led us so well tonight. So friends, as we come together, we're building community of love. And I pray that we can stay in connection and fellowship to respond to God's calling to serve the needy. Would you now please rise and receive the blessing of the loving one? Go now in peace with your trust in the loving one. And may the loving God fill your hearts with joy and generosity and tend you with love and grace all the days of your life. Amen. You may be seated.
And if I could, I'd just like to share a little backstory between me and Cheryl and Donna, if you're wondering how we all know each other. We all met at a school. Cheryl Wilson was the principal of LeConte. Donna was the secretary who had been there for years and was the backbone of the school. And my wife and Jill and I had moved to Berkeley, and our sons attended the school, and my wife was the PTA president. And through that school, our kids have grown up. Our sons are now 17 and 16, going on 18. And here we are kind of together. We've never lost touch. And we're working together to do great things for some other people who we're building a school. And we hope that relationships like ours will be formed at those schools so those people can do great things for others as well. And so please join us. We want to thank you for being part of all this tonight.